The road to the Full Throttle Cup heads to Kansas, and I believe Toto and the crew has arrived, and boy, this is going to be a fun night. Jacob Seelman here for LSRTV as we get set to kick off the second round, the eliminator round, or rather the contender round, of the chase for the RSR championship. And to do that, we come here to Kansas, the heartland of America, and ready to kick off round 4 of the chase alongside Evan Pasoko. Evan, I'll tell you, we saw a lot of action Sunday afternoon. I'm hoping we see some more green flag laps here tonight, but this mile-and-a-half track, very unpredictable, very unlike any of the others we run on the circuit. And boy, as Dorothy would say, Toto, hang on tight, because we're going for a ride.
Yeah, this racetrack has such a unique characteristic to it. The way you got to drive it, a lot of these guys are going to be running right up against the fence. There's going to be a couple of them that are going to be trying out that middle lane, and it'd be interesting to see how that group transitions throughout the run. But most of these guys in the practice session, again, they're running right up next to that fence, which can be very uncomforting because it's very easy to catch the wall. It's very easy to get stuck up in that outside wall and lose a lot of time here. So this racetrack, it is a day race here tonight. We're not under the lights, so it's going to be very interesting to see. And this track is obviously going to be very hard to pass at as well, Jacob, because you have to run that top side.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to pass, and right now we're already seeing it in qualifying for this event. Guys tagging the wall. Justin Wilson, one of the guys that I was just watching, who tagged that fence off of turn number 2. Dan Murray, one of our chasers right now, the provisional pole sitter in the number 55. He's been solid, almost scarily so. The points are reset, Evan. It's a whole new ball game, but what we learned at the end of round number 1 is that, well, the guy to beat is still Eric Brundy's, because he was the only chaser to win during the opening challenger round, and he sits atop the points, technically headed to round number 2 here tonight by virtue of finishing round 1 at the top of the standings.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, unlike when we started that first round, Jacob, is those guys with wins are not going to have the luxury of a 3-point bonus. Now, you mentioned that Eric Brundy's was the only chase driver to get a trip to victory lane, so he would have been the only one to get that. He does not. So all 12 drivers are on an even playing field entering tonight's race, but this round and these first 2 races, I think Kansas and then Charlotte are going to be so key, Jacob, because we have to obviously talk about Talladega that's going to be coming up at the end of this round. Nobody's going to be safe going into that one. So it really puts that much more emphasis on how important these races are to get solid top 5 and even get that trip to victory lane to punch your ticket to the next round, because Talladega is always unpredictable.
It's extremely unpredictable, and I think that's what makes this round so much fun, and in the words of some of the drivers here in RSR competition, scares them to death, because they don't want to be in a position where they have to run in the top 5 or potentially win Talladega in order to advance. You want to be able to be in a position where if you have that mulligan to use, you can burn it at Talladega in the event something crazy happens, because that's when disaster seems to strike. But you talk about Talladega being a wild card race, tonight might just be as equally so. We talked about it, the potential for a lot of crashes, a lot of yellow flags tonight. And that outside wall, it's dangerous, it's inviting, and thankfully, I don't think we'll see as many tire problems as we did on Sunday, though we may see about as many cars hitting that outside wall before it's said and done.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair statement to make rolling into this one. And interesting enough to note, one of the cars that, Jacob, we've been forced to talk about these last few weeks that hasn't really been a chase driver, being David Comstock, who had come in here and been running up solid. He's not in tonight's race, so he's not a chase driver, so that really doesn't make much of a difference. But that's a name that we have seen up front the last few weeks that we don't see here tonight. This 15-minute open qualifier. Now, last week, Jacob, it was fun to see these guys keep swapping out those top spots. You mentioned Dan Murray. Right now, he was the fastest in practice. He sits at the top of the provisional qualifying standings right now, but that window is still open with just about a minute left. These guys are going to be trying to get in their final runs.
Yeah, they are. And oh, by the way, interesting side note here, Evan. One of the guys, though David Comstock is not in the number 20 tonight, the number 20 in the field, and You know, one of the super subs we've been talking about for so much of the RSR season behind the wheel of that machine tonight, E.J. O'Rourke piloting that number 20 Chevrolet SS this evening. Not a surprise. He's filled in for many a driver this season, and though David Comstock not in that car, I wouldn't be surprised to see it up at the front, though he's got some work to do because right now in 16th on the qualifying board, he's going to have to pick it up. You want to be in the top 10 rolling off here at Kansas because, like you said, Evan, so difficult to make up track position.
And because it's so difficult to make up that track position is so key. So right now you were talking about E.J. O'Rourke. He currently sits 16th in the provisional qualifying standings, but right there you lost it up on the outside lane. You're just such on the edge. It's so easy not only to lose control of that car, but to catch that fence. And you're going to see guys, especially when it comes down to these latter stages, trying to make moves. They're going to be going down to that. Maybe you can work that middle lane. I've seen a couple of guys been trying it out, but again, passing is just going to be so difficult to do when that outside is a preferred lane that this could be one of those races where we see a guy like a Jose Gonzalez who has been known to go with those crazy tire strategies, fuel calls. Jacob, going to have to make those calls to get track position, and that could really shake things up here in the latter stages as qualifying comes to a close.
It does, and the third member of our crew, Carl Jones, going to join us in just a few moments. Right now, though, we're going to go straight to the Garry Mercer Trucking starting grid with qualifying over Dan Murray, one of our chasers in the Amsoil Toyota. He sits atop the charts, and we'll start from pole tonight with a quick lap at 29.703. Alongside him in the Flying 69, it's Corbin Hemstreet on the front row for the first time in the chase tonight.
Justin Wilson is able to squeak into this round for the chase. He'll start in the number 3 position inside on that second row. Alongside him going to be Matt Lacrosse driving that 21.
How about row number 3? Inside the 1 of Thomas J. George, outside the 2 of Rhett McBride. Both chasers, boy, we've seen them line up like that just a couple of times this season. They make out row 3.
How about row number 4? That's where Eric Brundy sits in the number 94 Shell Pennzoil Ford Fusion. He'll be in the number 7 starting position. Alongside him, going to be Mark Bratcher piloting that 25 car.
How about the qualifying effort for Bratcher? That's his best starting position in quite some time. Mitch Rollo, the 96, the Jegs machine, rolling off 9th. And Scott Stenzel, the Mittler brothers, number 42, rolling away from P10 tonight.
Nathan Little, another chase driver. He'll be starting from row number 6 on the inside in the 11 starting position. Alongside him, going to be C.J. Lavert, the number 4 Chevrolet.
13th, another chaser, Jonathan Cadell. 14th, the number 68, that's Scott Simley. Maybe he can crash the party this evening.
Another chaser back here at the number 91, Steve Gottschalk with a retro Pepsi scheme on his Chevrolet as he does week in and week out. He'll be starting in 15th, and the self-dubbed super sub that we're going to call him, E.J. O'Rourke's going to arrive at number 20 GMercer.com Chevrolet. He'll be 16th.
17th tonight, one of the non-chasers to win last round, John Higman Jr. in the number 60 Mellayella machine. Alongside him, another guy who I think could crash the party, the 00 L. Bryce Whitson Jr. rolls 18th.
Jose Gonzalez did not make the cut rolling into this round for the chase, so he drops back to the rest of the seeds and no longer in contention for the championship. He'll be starting in 19th. He's the inside of row 10, and rounding out the top 20 is going to be Kevin Linden.
How about 21st, the number 9, Stefan Marinak, who almost stole a win last Monday, and to his outside, the number 7, 22nd, that's James Robinson.
Doug Roth, the 43 car, is going to be starting in 23rd, and Jason Lester, who missed the last 2 weeks, Jacob, he returns tonight. The 92 starts 24th.
25th, the number 84, that's Jimmy North. 26th is the 66 of Brian Harvey. 27th, but dropping to the rear for the start of this one is the 99 of Jamie Pitts. And 28th, the 65, Ed Williams Jr., the last car to take time.
Adam Benefiel appeals that he'll be starting from pit road in the Roll Speed Dynamics Toyota. He was scheduled to start in 29th. Brennan Mercer going to take up P30. Rich Jet 31st. Cody Gibson 32nd.
Rest of the field, 33rd, John Wilco, Stephen Herring, 34th, Doug Manning, J. Randall Watkins, Sherry Ann Mills, the last car in the server tonight. She rolls 37th. We'll see if they all start the race here in just a few moments. We're glad you're tuning in here on LSRTV as we get set to roll off of corner number 4. Well, I'm excited. It's time for a show. We are about to see a show as the leaders roll towards the start-finish line. Dan Murray to the green flag. The 55 Amsoil Toyota takes off, and we're underway from the heartland of America. Green flag in the air at Kansas.
First side-by-side battle is going to be for the number 4 spot. Thomas J. George able to get up in front of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. They ride that high lane through 1 and 2 and down off the corner. Top 5 single filed out. Bumper to bumper around P10. The 42 of Stenzel trying to get high on Mitch Rollo.
Yeah, Stenzel's trying to make some moves early, and of course that high lane, like you said, Evan, that is the way to go here around this 1.5 mile racetrack, as it looks like about the top 10 cycle through here. The 55 goes to the bottom, comes back up, almost looked like he gave away a little bit of time to the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet. Evan, I don't know how much I like that strategy, ducking to the bottom of the racetrack and then coming back up. Everybody getting loose off turn 2. Murray nearly goes around. Hemstreet almost tags the wall. You saw Benefield pulling away. He's going to be at least 1 lap down, maybe 2 by the time he gets rolling off turn 4, though. Everybody loose again, and Dan Murray just can't barely keep it straight.
That 69 of Corbin Hemstreet got real sideways there, not only off the 2, but also showed a lot of tire spin coming off the drop of green flag. So he sits right now maybe 6 car lengths off the back bumper of Dan Murray, cruising in a little bit as they work down off quarter number 2. But again, this racetrack, you're up against the fence. You're trying to give it as much as you can. Very easy for that back end to step out from underneath you on the corner exit. So that's been a common theme that we've seen so far tonight. We got some side-by-side down to back straightaway. A couple of lap cars down on the bottom as they try to blend up in trouble. As, again, they started from pit road. And now caution, we got trouble somewhere on the racetrack. Yellow flag gets out of turn 4. A couple cars, the 92's in it.
Jason Lester involved in it. That's going to bring out, again, a quick first caution flag of this event. Just 4 laps in here of 180 miles, 120 laps at the Kansas Speedway. So still a long, long way to go here this evening. And Evan, just like that, we see our first incident, and you and I were talking about it. Off turn 2 and off turn 4, those are going to be the danger zones all night long.
Yeah, Jason Lester, an innocent victim in that one, but he was working pretty severe front-end damage before he even got to that incident, Jacob. And it looks like before this incident, as it goes up on the replay right now, the 43 of Roth actually got into the wall. Jason Lester got into the back of him. That was about the lap before, so the 92 comes through and slower than he would have been if he didn't have the trouble in 1 and 2. I think he would have been clear of that, Jacob. And the 36 just sideways in the track. Nowhere to go. The 84 kind of gets collected in that as well, comes flying through, and the 51 almost squeaks on the outside. Going to pick up some damage on Doug Manning's machine as well. As again, that's going to put us quickly under our first caution flag of the evening. Very, very loose in those opening stages for all these guys. Yeah, we were watching back ends about kiss the wall off turn 2, like we were having some sort of small affair with it, as we see some guys. Corbin Hemstreet led the fake down pit road, but none of the fish are biting this early in the night. Coming to complete lap 5, and how about an early break for Adam Benefield in his normally numbered 85 Toyota, tonight the 83 for the Roll Speed Dynamic entry. He was the first car 1 lap down under caution, and correct me if I'm wrong, Evan, but that ought to be a quick break and put Benefield in the hunt now. Yeah, he's taking his wave around right now up on the high side of the field, so he'll get himself back around to the lead lap. It was actually interesting, Jake. We saw quite a few guys start down from pit road, and a couple of those guys being chase drivers. Nathan Little was there, Adam Benefield, the most notable name you would say in the Roll Speed Dynamics machine. Starting from pit road, he lost his lap, so that caution, almost a quick save for him, because again, that's going to be able to get him back on the lead lap. That will leave us with 31 of the 35 cars that took tonight's race on the lead lap. Jay Randall, Watkins, Sherry Ann Mills, Jacob, who were scheduled to start at 36th, 37th, have not taken to the racetrack. They sit behind the wall and does not look like they will be getting their races. So we have 35, and looks like now it's going to be down to 33, as I think Jason Lester and Rich Jett calling it done. And I hate that for Jason Lester. Nathan because Little. He just disconnected, and he's a chase driver. Hello, Nathan Little. That's potential disaster. You know, we didn't see something like this coming early in the going, but you talk about digging yourself a hole. That's how quickly you can dig yourself a hole with this chase format. You've only got 3 races. You've got to be about perfect, and now for Nathan Little, this could be the end of his night and potentially the end of his championship hopes if he doesn't win one of these next 2 races. Boy, we'll follow up on that as soon as we can get a moment here. Want to bring in Carl Jones now, the 3rd member of our team tonight. Carl, early laps, we saw how loose they were getting
heading up off turn 2. Any analysis from you on the early goings? Because we see a lot of chasers back in the field, a couple of chasers up front, and a whole lot of hold on to your hats here in the early goings at Kansas.
Well, I was just kind of watching them here while they were on pit road. It looked like a lot of them took on 4 tires there just for that stop. And imagine a lot of changes are going on out there on these cars and these chassis. These guys look like they're very, very loose and really flirting with that outside wall there. It makes me hold my breath a couple times. And I just want to thank you guys for having me come in here. And Jacob, I hope you're feeling better here soon, buddy.
Appreciate it. I'm working on it. We're here. We're rolling. Toto made it to Kansas, just barely. But we're all in one piece, at least for the time being, and getting ready for a restart here. We're going to come to the 1-to-go signal this time by, and how about the AMSOIL Toyota? Evan, we've talked about Dan Murray a bunch in the latter stages of this season and how we weren't sure at the end of the regular season if he was going to be a contender for this championship because that car had had no luck. It had struggled for about the last 6 weeks of the regular season. They found something at Richmond when they absolutely had to race their way in. They found something. They've been able to carry it. And look at this team tonight. They're leading the race. And potentially, you know, if they hang on to it, all of a sudden they're in to the round of 8. And who knows from there.
If I may interject something here real quick, I was watching Dan Murray there in that last that qualifying round there. And as loose as he was, seems like he was one of the cars that was able to really hang on to that car and really take care of the loose condition that he's got there. He stayed out and put down the most laps, I do believe, if I was watching correctly. So Dan Murray, I think he's got a good chance of having the best handle of this car.
It's going to be interesting to see. Evan, I'll let you take us back to green, too, and add your thoughts on the 55 team. Nobody expected how well that car's run so far tonight, and wow, what a job in this front row. Who expected that either?
Corbin Hemstreet, both him and Dan Murray, as we roll out of 4, getting set to come back to the green. They have both had very solid race cars. Neither of them have been able to translate them into wins yet. 55, but guys, you see the 69, he struggles once again, getting the grip down to those rear tires. We're going to be side by side for second. 58 to Justin Wilson on the inside. He's going to want to clear that 69. He does as they go into the corner. Look at Hemstreet diving down to the bottom in 1 and 2. Wilson trying to hang on up top. We're going to be side by side for second as Dan Murray leads him down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Murray's still going. John Egan Jr. tagged the wall on that restart in the 60 machine. We'll try to follow up on that here in a few moments. A little bit further back in the pack, a battle shaping up for about 7th, 8th, 9th position. You got the 2 of Rhett McBride going to the bottom of the racetrack. You've got them shuffling all over the place. The 58 of Justin Wilson taking over that 2nd position. Hemstreet's charge on the bottom not working. He's back to 4th, and it is dicey all over this racetrack. Brundy's getting loose off too. The challenge from Scott Stenzel, side by side to 3.
He's going to be on the inside. Brundy's right up against the fence. Scott's trying to pull clear of him. The 94 hangs on at the right rear and clear is Scott Stenzel. What a move down in 3 and 4. Move the yellow striped Chevrolet Jacob now up into the position number, I want to say he's up to now 8th position. So Scott's been picking up spots throughout this race. There's a couple of drivers that are trying to get some black flags cleared after you mentioned that 60 machine caught the wall with some tire spin on that restart, so race control taking care of them. But you talk about Dan Murray and how he's running up front. He was able to sit on 2 top 10s, Jacob, in the first top 3 races of this chase for the championship, but has yet to get the victory lane. And I've been pulling for this 55 team. You've seen them up front races like Atlanta. They've been up in contention, but have just not been able to translate them into a win quite yet. Looking pretty stout right now as he sits P1 now 4/10 over Justin Wilson, who has been able to get by Thomas J. George for that number 2 spot.
And Thomas J. George, the guy that got around Corbin Hemstreet for 3rd. As I look back a little bit further in the pack, the 00 and the 9 side by side around the 11th and 12th position. Actually, battle for 12th is El Bryce Whitson Jr. and the 9 of Stefan Marinac, who could have stolen the race from Eric Brundy's, and he had about another lap, I think, last week at Dover. It was tight, and that 9 machine, I think they could be a spoiler here before the end of the season. Right now, though, mired back about 12th, 13th, as we got one car sideways off turn 2 and saves it, is the 96 of Mitch Rollo. Hang on tight.
We're side by side for second there for a moment. The 1 machine went low on Justin Wilson. Thomas J. George was unable to make that pass, Carl.
Looking back here on lap 12 here, We were talking about that 60 car.
Oh, we got trouble. Rhett McBride, he's down in the grass and well off pace. He got turned at a corner number 4. By the 21, he got loose in front of Matt Lacrosse. No caution. Rhett McBride, however, though, in the grass, well off pace, championship driver.
I started to say I was seeing smoke, but I wasn't sure exactly where it was coming from, Evan, and there it is, the 2 of Rhett McBride trying to get the silver bullet going once again. That car, though, doesn't look like much, if any, damage to that machine, but boy, he's now almost an entire lap behind the race leaders. He's got a ton of ground to make up. I'm sure the tires, Carl, they're just about shot, and that's one of our championship favorites, we thought, now in big trouble here in the early going.
Yeah, I was just saying here, right before that happened, back around lap 12, I was watching that 60 car, and the 43 of Doug Roth got up and tagged the wall and then got ran over by the 60 car. A lot of damage to the rear end of the 43 car right now. The 60 car not looking all that great right now either.
No, John Hickman Jr. out of this race now in the 60. He has just taken that car behind the wall, at least for the moment. I'm keeping my eyes, Evan, on the 2 of Rhett McBride. That Chevrolet, it's not looking like it did under the green flag here just a few minutes ago, and you see the skid marks right there coming to the start-finish line off the exit of turn number 4. He started a long slide there through the grass, and I'm sure that has to have affected the handling on that machine.
Yeah, he's pretty torn up. He got some pretty significant rear end damage on that one. The other car in that, again, the innocent victim, which had the nose used to make that turn. Matt Lacrosse was riding around behind him, and it was that machine that split across the nose of Matt. Lacrosse sits right now in 8th position in front of Jonathan Cadell, but he's caught the wall a few times, and he's sliding backwards. Jonathan Cadell, chase driver, may be able to pick up a spot here as he closes in on him. Lacrosse back in the wall again in a 4 close call.
Yeah, and while that's going on, we got a battle for the lead and a change for the lead. Justin Wilson just powered by the 55 at Dan Murray to take the lead at the start-finish line. He'll go to a 1/4 of a second advantage. Thomas J. George closing in. It's a 3-car freight train off turn number 2, but the new leader is that JGR number 58 Chevrolet. Wilson to the top spot.
Wasn't much of a fight there. Wilson was able to get around Murray. When Murray got up there to the wall coming out of down the backstretch here, he just got really loose coming out of turn 4, slid it up into the wall, and Wilson was able to get around him pretty handily.
I was going to say, the 55 of Dan Murray was actually pulling away from Justin Wilson. He added to about 5/10 of a second, and just down there into the corner, just, again, they're riding so close to the fence, just got in there just a little bit too hot and rode that wall for about 4 or 5 seconds, and that's what cost him so much time. He didn't really nail the wall, so not a lot of damage, but it cost a bit of time, slowed him down enough for Wilson to get past him. Yeah, and he's slow right now. Thomas J. George may actually be able to close in. That's bumper to bumper for second.
Yeah, it is. That battle for second raging to turns 1 and 2 right now, and it is hot and heavy as Thomas J. George, the Snap-on Chevrolet. Boy, he is trying to eat up the back bumper of the 55 machine of Dan Murray. Murray got loose off 2 all the way down the back straightaway. That's killing the straightaway speed on that AMSOIL Toyota. But now we see him get it righted, and again off turn number 4, Murray goes low, George goes high, and Evan, I can't help but think right here, I don't know how much time that low line saves you going down on the apron. I would think it scrubs off more speed than it helps.
Well, it's going to get that car real tight going back up into the corner. You got to get that thing settled before you head down into 1 again. But it looks like Murray, he looks like he's lost a little bit of speed coming off of turn 4. You see that one machine, he's pushing it a little bit more. Thomas J. George got closer up to the wall, and out of 4, just the last few laps, you see he's going to go back down to the apron. Let's watch that one machine. And when he comes back up, the 1 is just so much more smooth. We got 1 going through the front straightaway grass, coming back up, and is almost back up into traffic, trying to get a number on that machine. That's slowed down the front straightaway. Everyone's back going, but somebody took a ride through there.
Yeah, trying to get a read on that as well. I think
Scott
it was
Stenzel.
the 42 machine of Stenzel, as a matter of fact. Wow.
He was making up spots, Jacob. He got to about 6 spots, and he caught the fence, went all the way through the grass. He's back up on track right now, but he's going to lose significant time.
Yeah, he's going to lose a lot of time, and there is Stenzel now. He slots into the 10th position as Justin Wilson continues to lead at lap 23. Let's take our first look at the iRacing Ford First Leaderboard 4. Drive 1, Justin Wilson, your race leader. Dan Murray, second. Him Street, fourth. Bradshaw, how about this run? He's up to the top 5 in this loop machine. Eric Grundy's the championship leader coming into the night. He's 6th. Jonathan Caddell's worked his way to 7th. Stefan Marinak's up to 8th in the early going. L. Bryce Whitson Jr. 9th. And Scott Stenzel, we were just talking about him. He rounds out the top 10 right now as we work lap number 24, Evan. And the battle for the lead's starting to heat up just a little bit. Dan Murray's not done with this top spot, and he's trying to get to the back bumper of Wilson to make a charge at it again.
Yeah, that gap sits right now just over 0.2 of a second.
Oh, Murray's around. He's through the grass off turn number 4, and there we go again. Right off turn number 4, and he just lost it, Evan, the 55, and I believe that is going to draw the caution flag for the second time.
And turn 4, he has not been good at a 4, Jacob. I'm not sure if because he had caught the wall there and it cost him the lead a little bit earlier, Jacob, that he was taking it easy because he was losing a lot of time to Thomas J. George at a 4, and not sure if he was trying to just chase down Justin Wilson, giving it a little bit too much as he saw that 58 start to come back to him outside of his windshield, but caught the wall, and much like we saw not too long ago with Scott Stenzel, went down through the grass over. He was not able to keep it pointed forward the right direction, locked it up on the apron, and that did bring out the caution flag. So we're going to slow him down, but it's not the tires that are causing the chase drivers issues. It's that turn 4 wall. A lot of guys having trouble in the early going.
Yeah, it is, and let's see if we can't key him up on the radio. Dan Murray, LSRTV up here in the booth. Strong run was going for you. You got the pole. What happened there off 4?
Nah, I just tried to get too greedy. Got a little bit of the wall and shot me down the infield. Luckily, we didn't hit anything too hard, so see if we can get back into the front.
That was going to be the next question. How damaged is the car? You think it's still going to have the same speed going back to green?
I don't think I hit it all that hard. It only gave me a 0x, so we're looking to get some tires on it and see how much damage we got. We should be okay.
We'll let you get back to it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Leaders coming down pit road, led by Justin Wilson for their first stop tonight up here at the front of the field. Wilson, who will lead them down pit road. He qualified in 3rd position, so typically that number 1 stall is going to be a big advantage. Dan Murray not able to take it. Corbin Hemstreet's going to overshoot his stall. He enters in the number 3 spot. He's in there at a pretty skewed angle, taking to his pit stop. 4 tires going to go on to 58 of Justin Wilson, but I have to imagine that this is going to cost Corbin Hemstreet some time. He will exit pit road. Oh, it's a big race off 3 wide. It looks like he may get 4th. The 9 machine, Stefan Marinak, going to pick up some decent time. After he goes for 4 tires, he may leave 2nd.
That's a massive gain from 8th to 2nd on that round of pit stops. I'll take track position for $500, Alex, and boy, I'll also take the fact that while we're at lap 27 here under caution, we're going to do some business here and come back to the green flag for the heartland of America from Kansas Speedway. This is LSRTV, and we'll be back right after this to the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. Stay with us.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Perfect timing as we come back to LSRTV from the heartland of America, Kansas Speedway. Green flag back in the air, and Justin Wilson on the hammer as he takes the lead as we start working lap number 30 after a quick caution flag. The number 55 of Dan Murray going around off turn 4, and everybody's still sideways off turn 2. We'll get back to Dan Murray trying to work his way through the field in a moment. Right now, though, the battle for the lead is heating up. We got Thomas J. George working around Stefan Marinak for the number 2 position. You've got Eric Brundy's trying to work on a top 5 position. They're trying to go side by side down the front straightaway. Not quite working right now. Top 10 goes single file to turn 1, Evan, and I'm watching the championship leader. I think the 94, he looks like he's getting a little antsy back there in 6th.
You got to keep an eye on both Dan Murray, who right now sits 28th position in the number 55. He was just leading, and also Scott Stenzel. Scott was making up significant time, worked his way from about 10th position after he qualified there to 6th before he caught the wall. So those drivers that have shown speed in the earlier portions of this race, now mirrored back in traffic, are going to be having to pick their way through this field methodically. We hear one car over the radio, somebody's having some sort of connection. And now trouble, we got caution, and it's around Dan Murray towards the tail end of the pack. Mitch Rollo's in it.
Rollo's in it, Benefield's in it. In the Roll Speed Dynamics Toyota, the 83's got some pretty heavy damage
Linden's
on the right front. Yeah, Linden went over, oh boy.
That's a big wreck.
Yeah, I think Kansas just had something to say about that, and we thought Dover was dangerous last week. I want to get a look at the replay on this one in a minute because I didn't even catch Kevin Linden going over in that mess.
Yeah, the 43 caught the fence, and that's like at least the third, fourth time I've seen that 43 machine catch the wall. Doug Roth just not having a good night, and he did that right in front of Mitch Rollo, so Mitch is sliding up to get right on his door down into the corner with that 43 losing that speed. 43 was empty to the wall. Oh, Kevin Linden got jacked up. The 2 machine is in that again. Rhett McBride, he went up and on the nose, and the 96, the 83, a Benefield you mentioned, the 7 machine in it, another huge wreck. Kansas is just being Kansas, I guess. I mean, we were expecting this one to be wild. Jacob, you said at the top of the broadcast that this racetrack is very unforgiving, but it's just targeting all these chase drivers so far.
Oh, and we've got trouble under caution now. Mark Bratcher's slow. McBride is slow, trying to get a read on what happened here, but I get the gut feeling that there are some drivers not happy with one another right now under this caution flag. I want to get a read on exactly what the deal is. Oh, boy.
Brundy's has some right rear damage. He turned down, not sure what happened, but the 25 turned left, and he hit the right side door at the number of Brundy's machine there.
Well, temper a bit. I mean, seriously, are we back at Dover again? What's the deal here?
And there's a lot of these guys that know, as that we put that replay up as well, and we're hearing that Bratcher may have been trying to get to pit road, and it was caught looking at the gauges or something and just missed that entry, and evidently would get into Brundy's machine. But these chase drivers that have had issues so far tonight, we're down to 22 cars on the lead lap, Jacob. They're going to start to get agitated because they know that if there, I guess you could. There's two sides to this coin, because you could say if you have a solid finish added tonight, you're not safe because Talladega comes out. If you don't have a solid finish added tonight, you're not out of it because Talladega's still in it. But this could be our wild card race for this segment here in the championship, because a lot has gone down. We're not even halfway.
If you're a guy like a Brennan Mercer right now, or say a Jose Gonzalez who's running 9th right now, are you kicking yourself that you can't be a part of this round of 12 because of all these other guys who are having their problems?
I think you have to look at this, and it was close, and we had it got pretty wild there, Jacob, last week at the end of the Dover race that we thought could have severely shuffled up those transfer positions, and in the end nothing happened. But those drivers are definitely going to be rolling into this one, and they're looking up those positions. Brennan Mercer, Jose Gonzalez, Brandon Peterson, those three guys that were still in contention late at Dover. They're looking at this, and they're seeing a lot of our front runners have troubles, and it is racing. It's not only these, the 16 and now 12 drivers going for the championship out there on track. You got a race out there with the other 30-plus drivers. There's so many different things that can happen that you're never really out of it until that checkered flag flies at the end of the segment. And I'm sure they're thinking that they could have a shot at this one if they were up there at least running a solid spot. This race might turn into one of survival.
Yeah, who was it last week that at Dover was the one that got trashed under that late race caution and ended up being the guy on the bubble of advancing to the next round? Oh, wait, that was Justin Wilson. Who's leading this race? Justin Wilson. So, how quickly fortunes can turn. Whoa.
Benefield has just
Nobody expected that, and how quickly the championship tables have turned. Adam Benefield now looks like officially out of this race. Evan, it's kind of like what we saw with Jimmy Johnson on Sunday at Kansas. All of a sudden, this chase system proves that nobody is immune no matter where you go.
Yeah, this is getting messy over the radio. Rhett McBride exchanging words over the radio. I think he's upset with Matt Lacrosse. There's a lot of drivers not happy over the radio right now.
Well, I mean, come on, Evan.
To say the least.
Come on, Evan. You've been in this sim a time or two or 1,000. I mean, you have to have had a few moments in this whole deal where you've been upset, torqued up over another driver doing you wrong, and I mean, we all know how that goes. It's racing.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah, it's a fair statement.
Especially
I know.
These guys, they got the championship prizes and all that on the line here.
Yeah, absolutely right. We'll talk more about the championship implications here as the race goes on. Right now, iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car back to pit road. Justin Wilson, the leader, on the front row with him. Thomas J. George, and Wilson is gone. Green flag back in the air. American Ethanol green flag. This restart rolls to turn 1. Justin Wilson is there. The battles for second. 3 cars strong. Here comes Stefan Marinak on the inside, trying to take it away from Thomas J. George. Corbin Hemstreet right there. Yikes!
Dan Murray's going to go 3 wide. It's the 66 going backwards. Now a crossover by the 25 of Bradger on the 51 of Doug Manning. That was about 2-3 wide, about 4 rows deep back around P15. It looks like they're going to figure it out for the time being. They're not done. The 21 inside on the 51 out of 4. That's going to be Matt Lacrosse to the apron at the stripe.
Boys, it's not the white flag lap, I promise. We're literally only 38 of 120 into this deal. Take a breath. Calm down. It's going to be okay.
Oh, 55 machine. Oh, hard into the wall goes Ed Williams Jr. The 51 is in it. Caution's going to fly.
And my words apparently mean absolutely nothing. Caution again. 38 going to work lap 39 into this. Here's the replay, Evan. Yikes.
Oh. And Dan Murray just sneaks by that one. Ed Williams Jr. Didn't have a good entry. He could almost caught the wall going up into corner number 1, and that checked up to 25. 25 almost got on his left rear, and Ed really couldn't get back to the throttle, really couldn't get the exit that they wanted from there. Got sideways off the corner, caught the right side of the 21, and the 51 machine just goes plowing into that. Nowhere to go is Doug Manning. Manning gets up on 2 tires, but Dan Murray almost in that one as he dives down to the apron to get around it. But again, Adam Benefield, we can't get over this. The 83 car It looks like he actually had lost his engine in that incident, Jacob, and that's why he's done for the night.
Who saw this turn of events coming? Let's see. Let's do a tally. They did it on ESPN yesterday. Let's see if we can do a tally right here, because we're only coming to a third of this race in. Benefield's out. He's a chaser in the next round. Nathan Little's out. He's a chaser in the next round. You look at Rhett McBride. He's out. He's a chaser in this round. That's 3 of our 12 who have already had some sort of race-ending issue. And then there's Dan Murray in the 55 who spun and miraculously didn't hit anything. So there you go. Murray, McBride, Little, and Benefield, 4 of the 12 right now. And 4 of them are going to be eliminated, Evan. Yikes. Talk about digging holes. There you go.
And we would like to think, and those drivers would like to think, that maybe things are going to calm down in 1 week's time. They're going to get to Charlotte, and maybe they can take a deep breath. But Charlotte under the lights, still not a safe one. That one can always be exciting. That one can always produce some drama. But those guys that are digging themselves a hole, and this is very similar, actually, Jacob, to the Cup Series, that there's some of our top runners right now that are going to be sitting on the wrong side of the bubble if this race were to end where we sit right now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And are we surprised that one of the few top runners that is still up towards the front of this field happens to share a paint scheme with the guy that won the race on Sunday? I think not.
Coincidence.
Hey, come on, he's been one of the best all season. I mean, Logano's won 5, Brundys has won 4. I mean, granted, Logano's not led the points the whole way, but let's get real. He's been really, really, really good.
One of the best. Definitely, you know, the car. And it's not to say that, again, these other chase drivers have not, you know, been running real strong. But if you look, and now you got to exclude Adam Benefield. If you take him out of this equation just for temporarily, as he sits 29th on track. Look at Eric Brundys. He was the only other driver besides Benefield, Jacob, to log 3 top 5 finishes in those first 3 races. So those are the top 2 you got to look at. One of them is going to be in a big hole rolling out of tonight's race, and it's even that much worse because we talked about it at the top of the show that you don't get any bonus points for getting a win, so that would only apply to Brundys, but they don't get that 3-point bonus for wins. So, you know, guys like Benefield, Brundys that had those wins rolling into that first round had a little bit of a cushion. They don't have the, you know, the benefit of that, so this is going to be real interesting to see where this shakes out, and we just passed the 1/3 mark.
Yeah, I don't think Brundys is going to need to worry about those 3 bonus points all that much if these guys keep digging holes like they've been digging so far tonight. Carl, you've been a little bit quieter this last stint, even though the action has been really, really, really crazy. We get doubled up for a restart here. What have you got your eye on when we attempt, at least, to go back to green flag racing with 42 complete?
Well, I tell you, I'm watching this Justin Wilson up here in the front of the 58 car. Last time we were under green here, he was doing a lot of flirting with that wall. I've seen some times there when you couldn't even get a piece of paper between him and the wall, and I was holding my breath. So right now I'm watching him, and I'm watching that George right behind him, Thomas George in the number 1 car. Them 2 guys were running nose to tail there earlier, and both of them very, very, very close to that wall. I don't know if I can breathe or if I shouldn't breathe, because if I do, because I'm afraid to blow them up into the wall.
Well, I mean, they've flirted with the wall all season. Those are 2 of our guys that like to run the outside lane where it's applicable. So Justin Wilson, Thomas George, they're both 2-time winners on the season, looking for their 3rd wins on the year. It would put them through to the next round. Oh boy, oh boy. Pace car, iRacing Ford First Mustang heads for the pit lane. Justin Wilson, Thomas J. George, Stephen Marinak, Corbin Hemstreet, green flag, and Justin Wilson, goodbye again. He gets a big jump on Thomas George. Marinak going for 3rd. That's how they'll sit to turn 1. The pink number 9, he's on the move. Stephen Marinak trying to take, or rather claim 3rd, back away from Corbin Hemstreet. I think he's got it off too.
And he'll slide up in front of him off the corner, so that will cycle Corbin back.
We got trouble again. Caution flag. More drama back in the middle part of the pack here. And Yellow flag is going to fly. Maybe not. Still green at the moment. Whoa. Hello.
And it was Brendan Mercer, it looks like, got sideways. He was trying to use that bottom lane to get up around Matt Lacrosse. And when he went to slide back up, he thought he was going to be clear, saw that 21 come with the run, tried to give that a little bit more wheel into it, and nearly spun it. Almost used up all of that apron down all the way to the inside wall. He keeps it going, and we stay green.
Impressive. With the way we've torn up race cars so far today, I thought sure we'd have another caution. I'm watching a side-by-side battle back for 7th place, 8th place now. CJ Levere, Scott Stenzel, they're going at it. Levere holding the 8th position right now. Stenzel's trying to go on the attack in the number 42, and a little further back, more side-by-side action. The 20 of EJ O'Rourke, 91, Steve Gottschalk. They're going at it down the back straightaway. This bottom lane just not seeming to work right now, as the top side seems to be where it's at. Unless you can pull, I can't believe I'm about to use these words on an iRacing broadcast, Evan. Unless you can pull almost a slide job through the corner like we would see on dirt, you're not going to go anywhere on the bottom at all tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Oh yeah, we got Thomas J. George. He's going to get it as Justin Wilson slides back up in line. Move that number 1 machine to the top spot.
Thomas J. George, the Snap-on Chevrolet. He's looking for a 3rd win of the season. Got his 1st one at Watkins Glen. Didn't think we expected that out of him, and he didn't expect it either. But doing a nice job so far here at the Kansas Speedway. And now big pressure on for 2nd. Stefan Marinak's all over the 58 of Justin Wilson. That 9 car, the last 2 weeks, he has looked rock solid, and he's up there in podium contention again.
21 machine going the wrong direction. Matt Lacrosse has caught the fence yet again in his Chevrolet, and he sits right now in front of Mark Bratcher. Bratcher trying to find a way to get around him, as that would be the battle for 14th, and 25 is going to go low, but the 21 machine, after being caught up in some of our earlier incidents, has not been up to tip-top shape. Nearly catches the wall there once again, but Bratcher is going to be able to get through and clear. It was interesting to note that when the top spot made that pass and the 21 is going to go for a crossover on Bratcher, 1 car just spun at a corner number 2, trying to get a number on that. The 20 of EJ O'Rourke's in the inside wall. Caution.
There it is again, and we were hoping it wouldn't be so, but say it is so. A caution flag going to fly here with, I believe, 48 laps going to be complete. So we'll go yellow and get a look at the replay. EJ O'Rourke in trouble. Tough break for the 20 machine, because that's a car, like you said, Evan, that car's been good the last few weeks.
Yeah, and he comes over the radio and says he just lost it. And it's simple as that. Coming up off the corner, just didn't even have a chance to, to hang on to. And he admitted that he was starting to close in on Scott Simley, and that's some of the things that we thought when we saw with Dan Murray, is maybe he was starting to close into the leader, Jacob, trying to give it a little bit more, and just overdrove it. And that's essentially what EJ's saying, is he got a little bit greedy and just lost it. And he, for the most part, he kept it out of the inside wall. It looks like he's got some right front damage, but did a good job of locking it up, turning it the other way, and keeping it out of the inside wall for the most part. And he'll be in this race. He'll drop to the tail end of the lead lap. That'll be P21 leaders down pit road.
Yeah, we're going to cover the stops right now and keep a really close eye as Mark Bratcher stays out along with Dan Murray right now. But we're going to cover the leaders' stops here. Thomas J. George, Justin Wilson, they're going to hit their marks here as Wilson headed down pit road to that number 3 pit stall. And right side work going on the one of our former race leader, Thomas J. George. Right side work going on all these leaders down here on the bottom end of pit road. Eric Brundys is a few guys back in the pack. I think maybe trying a 2-tire strategy. Race off pit road's tight. I think George kept it just by a nose.
Yeah, he'll squeak it out, and the 58 put up a good shot at it. That's Justin Wilson. And Marinak, who we saw be picking up spots, he'll actually lose a position to Corbin Hemstreet. Marinak was able to get a lot of positions the last time they were down pit road under the caution flag period. He'll lead, but again, Mark Bratcher, Dan Murray going to go up to 1 and 2. They do not come down pit road on this cycle.
Track position, Dan Murray.
We saw him up front. The question is going to be, does the little bit of damage that he got and the older tires affect him at all? Because that car did look stout when it was up in clean air, and obviously a strategy call. This is what we talked about, Jacob, early in the race, that we're going to see guys have to be put into a position. They're going to have to make these calls to get that track position, but it's still a lot of racing to go. We'll have to see how that cycles him and Bratcher out through.
Yeah, let's get some business out of the way so we can continue to give you more green flag racing. We'll pause for a caution flag and be right back from Kansas Speedway. This is LSRTV and coverage of the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Garry Mercer Trucking. We'll be right back.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are...
Hello, green flag back in the air. We're tightening Dan Murray, the 55, on this restart. The whole field is jumbled up right now. Murray did not go in the Amsoil Toyota, Evan. That stacked up everybody behind him.
It looks like the restart down the back straightaway. 2 ride, 5-6 rows deep. Dan Murray on the outside. Here comes the 94 of Brundy's. To the inside, he's not going to be able to slide up in front of him. 3 wide, the 94 going backwards. A lot of cars. Brundy's is in it, Big Red.
Oh, Marinak's the one that got tagged in the championship leader. Half
Cadell's
the field.
in it as well.
Oh, boy. Here we go again.
And that all attributes to the wheel spin and the big trouble on that drop at a green flag there that we saw for Dan Murray. And you talked about it, Jacob, how you almost got to pull a slide job off the corner as the replay is going up right now. The 94 went to go for the pass. He was unable to do so, and everybody tried to get around him. The 9 caught the wall and went down, hooked the 94. Cadell was in it as well. And then the 9 of Marinac went down the racetrack. The 99, a huge lick. The 91 machine is in that as well. That's the Pepsi car that we're talking about right there. And that's Steve Gottschalk. He's going to pick up some damage. That's another chase driver. 3-4 more chase drivers at least in that one. And the top 2 cars that we have talked about all season long, Jacob, have now had pretty significant licks. As Murray's going to cycle back, he needs to come down for substantial repairs. The 94 of Brundy's is in the the 94 smoking real bad coming down pit road.
Yeah, I think Brundy's is done. The motor looks like it is absolutely toast on that Shell Pennzoil Ford. And how about another bullet fired into this one? Unbelievable right here. What a this is a disaster for the championship standings. Just well. Nobody expected it, and well, here it comes, and we're going to try to key him up on the radio right now. Eric Brandes, you were the championship leader coming into this, and I'm going to pull a line from Evan right here. I don't know what that was, but it just happened. What was it like from the driver's seat? Looked like you just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, somebody got in the wall and bounced off the wall and ran into us. There's nothing they can do about it.
You were running strong, top 6, top 5 just before that. How big of a blow is this for you guys for the next 2 weeks now? Granted the fact that a lot of your championship contenders have had problems tonight as well.
Well, I don't know. You know, I knew this was probably going to happen. You know, we get a big points lead, and then you got to do the gimmick points thing, and it just...
Boy, likely done for tonight, but... we'll look forward to seeing you, see if you can get it back out, but if not, we'll see you next Monday.
I mean, that says it all. And it's one of those things that you have to look at, Jacob, and he touched on it there. You get a big points lead, and you roll into the chase, and obviously the RSR Falter Cup Series, they're mirroring the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series points, and the fact that there's these segments, and if this was just the 10 races, this would sting, but he would have that advantage of getting those 3 straight top 5s last few weeks. Doesn't get any 3-point bonus, and now again, you can add Brandes and Benefield. Arguably are behind the wall.
Here's the real question, Evan. Now, with the way this has played out, does this give an opportunity for somebody who might have been really in danger of being an elimination car here? Maybe a Dan Murray or a Steve Gottschalk, somebody along those lines. Does it give somebody who might have been at risk of being in that bottom 4 a chance to, if they can have a solid run here tonight, solidify at least a chance to advance at Talladega?
You have to capitalize. The 91 of Steve Gottschalk, who has... obviously, chase driver right now. The lights off of the pace car will go back green the next time around to take 58, so just 3 laps short of the halfway point. But a 91 of Steve Gottschalk, he has been caught up in the majority of these incidents. Unfortunately, Jacob, he still has that engine, which seems to be the nail in the coffin for a lot of our chase guys. He's working right side damage. He sits 16th. That would put him in a position to move forward out of tonight, but you really need to knock off a top 5, a top 10. If you're those guys that ran, towards the tail end and maybe 8th through 12th in the standings after the first round, you really need to capitalize on this one, because you may not get another opportunity like this until we get down to the latter stages at maybe Talladega.
Yeah, Evan, you know what's coming, don't you?
Another restart.
I don't know what... well, besides that, I don't know what that was. But again, that just happened. Meanwhile, though, what else is happening is a restart. Thomas J. George right now 3 wide back in the pack. I think Jose Gonzalez did not go in the Meatball 26 machine. He'll drop back about 3 spots as we're side by side for second. Corbin Hemstreet, Justin Wilson going at it. Thomas J. George, the snap-on Chevy, is gone by 5 car lengths. Side by side down the back for the runner-up position.
Yeah, the 58's going to pull back in line, so Justin Wilson going to take 3rd spot, but Jose Gonzalez is still tracing that bottom lane all the way on the white line for the last lap. He'll really lose it here out of 4, losing a lot of time. The 68's going to squeeze on the outside lane. That's Scott Simley. It looks like Jose will be able to get up in front of the 20 of E.J. O'Rourke, who has made a significant recovery. Mark Bratcher, he's cycled back, and side by side behind them, Matt Lacrosse to the bottom.
I was just looking at the top 5. You want a chaser, Evan, that is capitalizing tonight and could punch a ticket to the next one?
For the top spot. Thomas J. George just got a shot from Hemstreet, and we're side by side off the corner.
Oh, and that's going to get tight. I'll get back to my thought in a minute. Are we going to go 3 wide for the lead? Wilson wants to think maybe we might. Here comes Hemstreet. He'll lead the lap. Wilson to the outside. That's the battle for second. Thomas J. George, Corbin Hemstreet, Wilson. It's a 3-man fight, and they touch again off 2.
Very, very close, and Corbin Hemstreet is applauding Thomas J. George on the save and letting him know that it was not intentional, but the one machine obviously frustrated because he's going for a championship and nearly lost it out of 4. He's going to try to close back the gap. He's second right now. Justin Wilson continues to ride in third. How about Scott Stenzel knocking on the door for CJ LeVere, trying to crack the top 5?
Hey, you just mentioned my guy. Can I go back to my thought for a second? Because you wanted a chaser that's capitalizing tonight and could punch a ticket to the next round with a solid top 5 run. That guy, the Coca-Cola Chevrolet, CJ LeVere. You know, I think a couple of times we may have forgotten he's even in this chase. He's been so quiet. He's having a great run.
Justin Wilson.
And Wilson's around through the grass. Yikes. Trying to hang on to it, hold it down there. We're working lap 62. Is it going to bring out a caution? Nothing yet.
Yep, caution's out. Oh, wow. Somebody just went right by him. The 41 car nearly just took the door off of Justin Wilson, and that is chase driver Nathan Little. Look at how close that was as the 58 slid back up onto the track. Caution is out. But wow.
Hello, Nathan Little. Hello, Nathan Little. That was a brush with near disaster. How do you do? Yeah. Could you have put a piece of paper between those two cars? Would you have wanted to, Evan? I wouldn't have.
That was a very peculiar set of laps. And you want to add, and we've seen a couple of drivers been jawing at each other. I can guarantee you Thomas J. George is not happy with Corbin Himstreet. So I'm interested to see what these guys are going to do. How about L. Bryce Whitson Jr.? You mentioned, and he qualified at it was 18th position, and you said he's one of the cars that can come up here and spoil the party. Did not show the crazy speed that he needed in practice nor qualifying. He's in a top 3 spot and looking pretty stout. Corbin Himstreet's going to duck down pit road, and now the fake out by Thomas J. George. Everybody's going to fake out. Now Jose's the first car else in from 6th, but they faked out Corbin Himstreet down pit road.
I think Corbin Himstreet's going to be thankful that a ton of those guys behind Scott Stenzel came with him, though, because you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, it looks like, that stay out, and everybody else on the lead lap, it looks like, from about 5th on back or so, have stayed out here, and I'm trying to get a read on that last car that did, in fact, stay out here. We know George, Whitson, LeVere, Stenzel. Go back through the pack here in a minute, Evan. I know we had 5 of them stay out. I'm trying to get a read on that 5th car number, or at least there were 5 a minute ago.
And there's only 4 right now behind the pace car. Corbin Himstreet going to be the first one off of pit road, and Thomas J. George, everybody else, they were coming down pit road. The 69 was going to stay out. Himstreet ducked down. I think it was about 2nd through 5th, went back out. They stayed out, and everybody else comes back in. So positions 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the time are going to cycle through to be the top 4. Thomas J. George, L. Bryce Whitson Jr., CJ LeVere, Scott Stenzel going to be the cars that stay out. Corbin Himstreet and company are going to be the first off of pit road. How about Jose Gonzalez going to be the 2nd car off of pit road with the 4-tire stop? He's now going to be in the number 6 spot.
The meatball mobile is coming. And you know, in regards to the 00 of Bryce Whitson Jr., what can I say? You know, hey, when I call him, I call him. How about let's do this, Evan? Under caution here, let's take a chance, since there was so much drama going on at the halfway mark that we couldn't even begin to think about it. Let's take a look at the iRacing Ford First mid-race leaderboard. Thomas J. George, the Snap-on Chevrolet, he leads it at lap 65 of 120, still 55 to go. L. Bryce Whitson Jr., like you said, Evan, he's 2nd in the 00. CJ LeVere, one of our chasers, he's 3rd in the Coke Chevrolet. Scott Stenzel, 4th in the Miller Brothers entry. Corbin Himstreet, the first car off pit road, he's 5th. Jose Gonzalez, 6th. Scott Simley, nice run up to 7th. Mark Bratcher, the Zloot machine, up to 8th now. He's rebounded. Dan Murray from the tail of the lead lap to 9th, and Matt Lacrosse in 10th.
11th as they run right now is Brian Harvey, the number 66 machine. Cody Gibson is 12th. Brennan Mercer back up to number 13 position. John Wilco is in 14th. Haven't said much on his number 62 machine so far. Justin Wilson now finds himself 15th. E.J. O'Rourke in 16th. Gottschalk 17th. Cadell 18th position. Don't see him on the racetrack right now.
We'll follow up on that in a minute. He was the last car on the lead lap at the time. Nathan Little still out there, albeit barely, in 19th. 20th, Grundy's out of the race. I think all the rest of these cars are done for the night. Stefan Marinak, 21st. Jamie Pitts, 22nd. 23rd, Ed Williams. 24th, Doug Manning.
We got trouble. Jonathan Cadell blew it up, Jacob. And he's done. Another chase driver. He came down for pit road, and if we can get a replay up on it, it was going to be lap 64 for him as he was exiting pit road. Started going up through the gears and just lost the engine, leaving pit road. He is done as well.
Missed a shift, perhaps?
I'm not sure. He came down pit road. It wasn't smoking, I don't think. But he actually came down pit road. He was working the right side damage, stayed in there for a little bit, didn't get any tires. And maybe he left to come back around, get some more damage repair, maybe to stay in front of the pace car. But was leaving pit road, and all of a sudden, and listen, it doesn't sound like he missed a shift. The engine just let go on him.
Huh. Interesting. Well, you know, we'll follow up on it, see if we can't get a word with him in a minute. Real quick, Rhett McBride, James Robinson, Kevin Linden, Doug Roth, Mitch Rollo, Benefiel, Herring, Higman, North, Lester, Jet. The rest of the cars out of this race. Ford first pace car hits pit road, and we get ready to go back to green. Green flag in the air, the one of Thomas J. George, and the 00 doesn't go again, that outside lane. Oh, and he got turned. There goes everybody.
No.
Big trouble. 4, 5, 8, 9, maybe 10 cars involved.
Are you kidding me?
They're still piloting on this.
Wow. And more wheel spin sees the 00. We're 4 wide, 5 wide almost, and Stenzel looks like he either, you know, got some more wheel spin or panicked because the 69 at Him Street was going dead towards his driver's side door. They caught L. Bryce Whitson. CJ LeVere gets hooked into the wall. The 00, the 68 of Scott Simley in it as well. What is going on? It's not a full moon. I mean, it's a day race.
I don't know. I don't even, Evan. I agree with you. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Wow.
Yeah, I'm only seeing maybe about 4 cars that went through that with no damage.
And we just passed halfway, too.
I know.
There's still 50 plus laps to go, and a trophy's still on the line. And you just said, Jacob, how about CJ LeVere, who has been a sleeper in these opening stages? He just got hooked into the fence. He's down to 20-something.
Hey, Evan. I heard one guy over the radio say, I keyed into his radio under caution, and I heard him say, I'm just riding. You know who that was? The 62 of John Wilco. You know, one of the 4 cars that made it through
he picked
that
up
wreck.
10 spots, Jacob, on that front stretch.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll tell you guys, I just went back and looked through this entire field. I'm only seeing 4 cars out there right now that do not have damage. There's every single car out there besides the 4 cars have some sort of damage on them. So that was one of the most wicked wrecks I think I've seen in a long time.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to make a command call right here. We need a break to catch our breaths. Let's send it to commercial, do some business. We'll try and sort this deal up when we come back. From Kansas, this is LSRTV and the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, or I guess at this point, what's left of it. We'll be back. Welcome back to LSRTV, and we're still chuckling here, and it's not because it's kind of because we can't get ourselves together, but what a race this has been. There's about 10 cars that are alive, I think, at the moment. There's about 3 that don't have any semblance of damage, and we're gearing up for a restart. And we still have 49 laps to go when we get the green. So that's about all you need to know in this Kansas Lottery 180 in a span of about 5 seconds. We'll catch you up on the rest and who's still alive after about a 15-car pileup when we go back to green here in a moment. Thomas J. George, one of the only chasers alive, is your leader. He's on the jump. He's gone. Jose Gonzalez doesn't go on the restart. The battle's for second. Wow. Brian Harvey. The 66, I don't know that I've said his name all season, but he's to the inside for the run-up spot in turn 1-3. Oh, boy.
Can we... 66 is in the middle. He's slow. Look at Matt Lacrosse to the apron, through and clear.
Have these guys not learned anything, Evan? I mean, really? Can we not run a 500 feet without trying to wreck somebody?
No one's lifting. I mean, you saw it there. Everyone's still up on the wheel. They know that they can... Thomas J. George, by the way, he has set sail. He is 1 second away. We're bumper to bumper for the number 2 spot. That's Corbin Hemstreet. How about Jose Gonzalez, who just missed that cutout last week, Jacob? He sits in the 2nd spot.
I think what you're seeing right now, Evan, is the fact that the 1 car is the only top-tier car that's left. Thomas J. George is leaving everybody because he's the best car that hasn't been completely destroyed. And, you know, here's another point, Evan. How much bad luck have we seen the 1 car have? I mean, he barely made the cut for round 2. Look at this. He's leading this race now. We said the same thing about Justin Wilson earlier before he got trashed in this deal. Thomas J. George has had everything happen to him. Was only a couple points away from not going to the next round. And where is he this week? In the penthouse. He leads it with 74 complete.
Here comes the 55, Tan Murray to the bottom on the 66 machine of Brian Harvey. That's going to be for the number 7 position. The 55 Amsoil Toyota going to slide up in front, and he'll take that spot. So move Dan back up to the number 7 position, as the 66 of Brian Harvey has had a lot of trouble in 1 and 2. He has not been navigating turns 1 and 2 all that well, and the 62 continues to close in on him. John Wilco now to the bottom. So these guys are starting to get curious on that middle lane.
Yeah, they are. Carl, I want to bring you back in on this because I think you've just kind of sat here speechless with the rest of us until that last caution when everything happened and we're just kind of all like cocking our heads going, huh? And now we've got 1 car, coincidentally the number 1, who is head and shoulders above everybody. You've got a whole bunch of guys who really probably would never have been in the top 10 if it weren't for what's happened, but they're in the top 10, and we've still got 43 laps to go.
I'm still trying to figure out what's happened. This has been probably one of the most baffling things I've seen in a long, long time. But watching Thomas George up here, who is leading this race, I'm seeing that he has done one thing that I kind of figured he would do. He has really backed off of a lot coming out of these turns here. He's not cocking that car sideways like he was, because you don't have to.
He doesn't have to, and that's a big, big catch. So he's doing what he needs to do right now. Evan, how big a statement is this for the 1 team if they can pull it off and win here tonight?
He talked about the bad luck. If they hadn't had bad luck, they wouldn't have had any of these last few weeks. The fact that they've been able to survive this and are essentially checking out on now 2nd place Corbin Hemstreet by 1.7 seconds. That time I'm going to pick up another 10th, 1.8, is the fact that Thomas J. George is letting people know, hey, this is not the Eric Brundys and the Adam Benefield show. This Snap-on Chevy has been strong all season long, and this could be the breakthrough race given circumstances that he's really going to solidify himself as a serious championship contender.
Yeah, and it's big because he would ink his way to the next round and not have to panic about Talladega. So, well, this has been this has been really, really interesting. And, you know, watching Corbin Hemstreet now, he just chopped the 10th off of Thomas J. George's lead. I'm not convinced the 69 can't still do something with this race. He's just got a lot of ground to make up. Gonzalez, Mercer, look at Justin Wilson, you know. I didn't think he was still alive in this, Evan. He's back up to the top 5 despite all this. 2 chasers, 3 in the top 7. Those 3 are going to be the ones to make a statement if they can hold on tonight. As look at Thomas J. George. We got major lap traffic coming up in front of the leader, C.J. LeVere.
Yeah, CJ is working a lot of damage, and to add to that, he has to stay out of the preferred groove for the race leader, so he's going to ride around on that apron, which is not good even with a stout car. So CJ's, well, you got one car sideways, the 41 and Nathan Little's going around at it too. He saves it.
Hold on tight. How many times have we said that about chasers tonight? They're hanging on. So far, Nathan Little's okay. Yikes. Just one of these things here tonight. Can we take a breath here, Evan? We've not been able to do that for 82 laps because there's always been something happening. Good night. It's been crazy in Kansas, and we're not even under the lights. I say good night, more like good day, something.
And I said, it's, you know, it's not like we're at Richmond. You know, it's not a full moon. It's a day race. Come on, guys. I mean, and it's just the nature of this racetrack. The tires spin, and it's not that we're having incidents, Jacob. It's that these incidents are finding the top chase drivers.
Yeah, the incidents are finding the top drivers, and that's what's made this so crazy tonight. Because just who would have envisioned something like this? I mean, it's totally bizarre. Just bizarre. That's the only word I can think of to use for it, is the fact that everything's happened tonight that we never would have dreamed would have happened in a normal race, and yet here it is.
And the reason that we're able to settle down for the moment is the fact that there's only 12 cars left on the lead lap, and maybe 16 in the race that are still on track. So there's not a lot of cars that can get into issues with each other because they're so spread out, because everybody's beaten and battered. And you mentioned Corbin Hemstreet. Now he still has a relative shot at this versus Thomas J. George. He's closed that gap down by 2/10, and he'll lose him that time by as he works some lap traffic. But I don't think you can count out that machine as, especially if we get a late race caution. I don't think that you can count that 69 machine out if him and Thomas J. George get put back to an even playing field, Carl.
Well, just watching Hemstreet right there as he was trying to get around that lap traffic, just about into the 00 there as he makes it around, but that was really close. He had it really sideways there coming out of turn 4 and was able to collect it, but the 00 gave him a little bit of a hard time getting around him, and he lost a good bit of time now to George. George has stepped it back up again. I was listening to George. He's getting back in the throttle a little bit earlier again. I think he's got his tires back underneath him again here, and he's really taken off now. He's picked it up to a 2.2-second lead.
He's able to pull a little bit more ground now. Jose Gonzalez is not too far off the back bumper of Corbin Hemstreet either. That gap 3/10 the last time by, scoring gonna cycle through, and Jose is gonna be able to knock off another 10th. So 2/10 and about 4 car lengths separate them. Jose is making up some ground. The Puerto Rican Meatball Chevrolet is up to the number 3 spot after starting in 19th. And I think we talked about Jose after dropping out of this chase for the championship, unable to get the results that he wanted in the Challenger round. Only one top 10 in all 3 of his starts. Right now has really picked it up. He's survived. He's got a pretty stout looking machine. His car, one of the ones with the least amount of damage, looking pretty clean as he tries to hunt down Corbin Hemstreet. He took a shot at it on the bottom in 3 and 4, was unable to get anything out of it. Used the apron, and Jacob, he's trying to close into him, half a car length, and now 69 going to pull some ground. It's going to be 2 car lengths down the back.
Yeah, it is, and as we watch that battle, I'm also watching the battle for 4th getting ready to shape up here. How about 3 chasers back in the top 5? Who would have thought we'd have said that tonight? But Justin Wilson, Dan Murray getting ready to go at it for the number 4 position. The 58 and the 55, they're separated by just about a car length, and boy, Justin Wilson stretched it out a little bit last time by the stripe, but those two, boy, they could be setting up for a pretty nice battle here in the closing laps. And I can't even forget about the fact that we've got Scott Stenzel still in this. He's 11th right now on the tail end of the lead lap.
keeping an eye here.
Yeah, Gottschalk's there as well.
Just keeping an eye here on Hemstreet and Gonzalez and watching the two completely different lines that they're running through these turns here, as Gonzalez has been diving it down there and looks like he's losing time every time he does it. I think he might want to change up his idea here and just try to maybe follow in the tracks of Hemstreet. Hemstreet's been doing a pretty good job of staying ahead of him, and Gonzalez diving down there is just losing time every time he does it.
Yeah, he is, and again, it goes back to what I said at the top of the show. I just don't know how much that bottom helps you, Evan, and we've seen it here just all throughout this race, and I feel like that's almost been some of these guys undoing tonight. That's where we've seen the issues.
And it's the fact that that outside lane is the place to be, that you can't go any higher to make the pass. You can't go through that outside wall. Hemstreet and everybody else, they're running maybe a car length off of it sometimes. They're even kicking that back out, and that right rear is just scraping that outside wall through the corner. So you're forced to go low. I think Jose right now a little bit faster. Thomas J. George, he has set sail from 1.8 seconds to about 3.6 in like 7 laps. So the one machine has checked out, but Jose was fast. He was catching Corbin Hemstreet. Now he's gone down to that middle lane. I'm not sure I'm liking that strategy by Jose. I think he's faster. He just needs to close into the back bumper and then maybe thinking about trying to pull one of those slide jobs that we've seen work earlier on in the race. But right now, see, he goes back up high, and he's going to gain a lot of time through 3 and 4. The 26 able to get back to the gas sooner. Oh, he catches the wall just as I say that.
Oh, and here we go one more time, and we're going to continue to watch this battle, and Hemstreet now able to pull away. Gonzalez maybe driving the wheels off it a little bit too hard, as he's got 5 car lengths to make up now, and going to start to be reeled in by that battle for 4th between Wilson and Murray. But with the 93 laps complete here, and Thomas J. George checking out now, the gap going to be almost 4 full seconds with 27 laps to go. As they go side by side for 4th, we're going to take this advantage to squeeze in one final break. We'll bring you all the way to the checkered flag when we come back from Kansas Speedway. This is LSRTV and the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Back to RSR competition here from Kansas Speedway. The Garry Mercer Trucking Kansas Lottery 180 tonight, round 4 of the chase for the championship. Jacob Seelman, Evan Pasoko, Carl Jones here in the broadcast booth, and we're back under caution with most of the leaders heading to pit road after Corbin Hemstreet tagged the wall, almost tagged Jose Gonzalez, and amazingly was the only car involved. He's got damage. The leaders are on pit road. Evan, let's cover the stops and check on our leader. Thomas J. George was gone before this caution.
And this is going to cycle everybody back up, and they're all going to be on even tires. They're all going to be close. Do we see a 2-tire call? Thomas George has led them down pit road. He's in. Will be his last trip that he's going to need. And there goes the 29 of Brendan Mercer. 2 tires to the top spot.
You knew somebody had to try, didn't you? I don't know if it's going to pay off or not, but you knew somebody had to try, Evan. It was perfect.
Over the radio, Thomas J. George cues up on the radio, and he goes, "Did you take 2 tires?" And Brendan Mercer comes back and says, "I'm going to win one of these races one day." So he's throwing the strategy card, and he's going to be in the top spot with less than 20 to go.
Now, let me tell you this here. He's the cleanest looking car out here right now, too. He has absolutely no damage. So, was that a bad stop?
Oh, by the way, for anybody that doesn't follow the Full Throttle Cup Series regularly, Brendan Mercer also is the race director most times around. And, Evan, I'm going to have to go back and really dig into this deal. He has to have won one of these races at some point. There's no way he's never won one of these things. I'm going to go check the history books on that.
We're going to have to check the old-time league wins and try to see if we can find Brendan Mercer. Garry Mercer on the car, he runs solid. There's no, I can't imagine he hasn't been able to go to victory lane in one of these.
I'm going to check the history books, and while I do that, Carl, boy, what a night it's been. Any more observations? Because we're getting set for another late race restart. How many times have we said that tonight?
Like I said, I'm looking at the Mercer car there. 2 tires, kind of iffy, but he has no damage on his car. He's going to be one of the only cars here in the top 3 or 4 that doesn't have any damage. Whether that's going to make a difference or not, yet to be seen, but it's going to be interesting because Thomas George did check out on these guys right before this caution. He was up to almost a 3-second lead there. So with 4 tires, I think George may be able to take Mercer.
And FYI, my little perusal of the history books, I don't think it was a Full Throttle Cup Series victory, Evan. But Brennan does have one lonely little win in RSR competition. Again, I don't think it was a Cup Series victory, probably one of the other RSR sanctioned series. I don't remember him ever winning one of these Full Throttle events, and that may have been what he was referencing over the radio. He's not won one of the top series events, and gosh, that's a remarkable thing when you think about it.
And that's going to set us up for he'll have 2. Everybody else is going to sit on 4 tires. It's going to be, I think, 18 to go when we come around, take lap number 103 here. Can he ride out maybe a couple of late race cautions to take it to victory lane? He's got Thomas J. George. Dan Murray's not out of this, Jacob. He's back up the 4th after not being up there since he caught the wall early in the going. He's got a shot at this also.
Yeah, when did that happen? We've got 3 chasers in the top 4 all of a sudden, and Scott Stenzel in 9th. What a rebound for the 42 team. You want to talk about 4 guys who are going to be ahead of the game headed to Charlotte? Those 4 right there. George, Wilson, Murray, Stenzel. And I want to even give a call to Nathan Little. He's 4 laps down, but he's kept his foot in it, and he's made up positions all the way to 14th. I think he's the 5th or 6th highest running chaser right now. Of the guys that are left, we're going to get a restart with 18 to go. Mercer, George, does he go? Yes, he does. Green flag in the air. Mercer's gone. Here's the battle for second. Justin Wilson on the charge.
And Wilson's going to use that bottom lane. Is he able to slide up? There's no room right now in between Brendan Mercer and Thomas J. George.
No, he's going for the lead in turn 2.
Side by side, Mercer's going to get a bump from Thomas J. George. 2 wide, 2 rows deep.
Oh, and it's almost 3 rows deep. How would you have thought the 58 would even be contention for a victory? Matt Lacrosse is in it. They're trying to go 3 wide off 4. Lacrosse to second. Holy cow, and Justin Wilson with a tore-up race car to the top spot again.
And that's going to cycle Brennan Mercer back to 5th as Dan Murray's going to get clear of him. It's a freight train. Here goes the 1. Thomas J. George to the bottom. That's not going to work. Wilson Lacrosse lead him out of 2.
And here comes Matt Lacrosse for the lead. He's
Crossover.
going to the bottom of the racetrack. Lacrosse, the 21, he's a non-chaser, trying to spoil the party. The Chevrolet to the bottom, Chevrolet to the top. The JGR machine holds the spot for now. But Lacrosse was a winner, and Thomas J. George in the grass.
He
Oh.
keeps it going forward. He'll keep it going here down into 1. Does he come up into traffic? He almost gets Scott Stenzel. Oh my
Okay,
God.
where's the full moon, Evan? Where? Find it, please. I've had enough of this insanity for a night. And there's still 15 to go. Let's get a replay.
Caution, we got more trouble now.
Oh, it's L. Bryce Whitson Jr. around off turn number 2 and into the runoff area. Heavy damage to the 00. Looks like about the whole front clip ripped off of that machine. Caution flag is out. Whitson was having a great run. The Zeus number 00. I was trying to read a manufacturer, but there's nothing left on the front or the rear to be able to identify it.
I see
think
a Chevy
maybe
emblem,
it's a
I think, up by the spoiler. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's a Chevrolet. We'll go with that. But Whitson drawing the caution, and hello, yet another late race restart.
And Hemstreet could have easily been involved in that, Jacob. He did a good job. He darted up to the top and was able to get around that one.
So caution is out. We've got 17. I think it's going to be 14 to go when we get the green flag. And Thomas J. George better be counting his blessings right there, because that. What was that, Evan? How many vats have we had?
We'll go
tonight?
with that was whatever that was that happened again, because another, and we were talking about the one of Thomas J. George was set to gain so much, Jacob. He still will, because he's 8th position. He can't lose enough spots at this point because there's nobody else left. But he got sideways, and again, it's a chase driver that he just happens to come up and nearly door down into 1.
Yeah, and if I were Scott Stenzel, I would be trying to. I wonder if he needs a change of clothes after that one. If I were Scott Stenzel, I think my heart's in my throat, and my driver's suit needs a little bit of help after that one. Yikes!
I'm not wearing a driver's suit, but I need a change after that.
I'm telling you, this has got to be the craziest race that I've ever seen. The way it's all playing out, and Jacob, we've seen races, you know, earlier in the season where they have their fair share of cautions. We go to short tracks, there's a lot of yellows, maybe even more yellows that we've seen to this point. But it's the fact that every single incident is affecting a chase driver, and with this new chase format, you can't have that happen.
That's the point. You can't have it happen. And right now, with what's going to be, I think it's actually going to end up being 12 laps to go when we go back to green. That's unfortunately, Evan, and I say unfortunately for us, that's enough time for something else to happen. Do you have anything left in you if we wad up?
Second, battling for the lead off that restart.
Yeah, and what it's going to be is, I think we're doubling up right here, or maybe we're doubling up. Trying to get a look at the pace car here. We may end up going one more. I think we are going to go one more. So it's going to be, what, 11 laps to go when we get the restart, Evan? I mean, I'm glad we're chewing some laps up here, because the less laps we have to go, the less time these guys have to tear up their equipment again, because we've seen a whole lot of... Are there any cars left that haven't been involved in something tonight? Brennan Mercer? Maybe?
Maybe. Jose's car looks pretty good. So 10 cautions so far, Jacob. About 36 laps of caution.
Oh boy, yeah. 8 lead changes despite all that. Working our 37th lap of caution. 37 will be the number when we go back to green, and holy cow! I'm running out of words to describe this night. I mean, it's I don't even know, Evan. This whole race has been a case of whatever that was, that just happened. I think that needs to be our new catchphrase.
It'll be the tagline for the series.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, the second row may have the cleanest cars, and that's with the fact that Dan Murray's had so much yellow time that he's been able to basically put a whole new right side on that machine, Jacob, because that was torn up early in the going. His car almost looks like it just came out of the shop now in third place. Jose's car looks pretty good. How about the 66 of Brian Harvey? His car in pretty good shape as well. But Scott Simley, another chase driver that's going to gain a lot of this if it finished right now, he's fifth.
Is it bad that I actually forgot Simley was still in this chase with as quiet as he's been? Never mind, he can yell at me for that one later. iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car to pit road. Field in the hands of Justin Wilson. Green flag in the air. Looks like the outside's not going. Matt Lacrosse didn't go. They're stacked up 3 wide behind. Wilson's got a huge lead to turn 1.
Here we go again, 2 wide, down into the corner. Dan Murray, Jose Gonzalez going to be at it door to door. Jose's going to have the preferred lane up against the fence. Looks like he'll get that number 3 spot. Can Dan Murray get up in front of the 68? He does. Crossover to the bottom goes Simley.
By the way, has anybody looked at the back end of the 58 of Justin Wilson over the last 10? Yeah. Evan, you said it right there. What back end? That was my point. There is no back end, and Wilson is leading this race, albeit I don't know for how long. Look at the charge by the 21 of Matt Lacrosse.
Matt Lacrosse is working a beaten and battered machine, and his car's significantly in better conditions than some of these other guys. Look at Jose Gonzalez. This thing's not over, Jacob. It was 10 to go that last time by. Top 3 cars make it top 4 within a second of each other.
Oh boy, we're not done yet. We're trying to hold on tight and see what we get for a win here. Top 4, top 5 now. Freight train. Look at Thomas J. George back in this in the 1 machine. He's 5th, back to 1. It's less than a second between these front 5.
I think Jose may have the best shot out of this out of all of them, because although Matt Lacrosse is closing in on Justin Wilson now, as the top 3 separated by 2 car lengths apiece. At the same time as that, Jose is closing in on both of them. Do they have
and look
time?
at Thomas J. George side by side, and he'll try to take over the 4th spot right here as they're still wheel to wheel down the front straightaway. George is going to have it at the line, I think.
Not clear,
He's got
though.
the preferred lane to turn 1. He's going to try to dive bomb it in. He's got it now. Could the 1 steal this show?
I think Thomas J. George is too far back. He's battling with Murray. That's going to be 0.8 of a second. If he wants to get at it, he may need another caution. We're bumping.
No, what he needs is the bumper battle for the lead right now. And Justin Wilson, Matt Lacrosse, they get side by side. It's a whole new ball game. And Lacrosse is trying. Here he goes. Battle for the lead, side by side, wheel to wheel, to the line. Wilson led it by 8/1000ths, but Matt Lacrosse has got it in 1.
He'll slide up in front of him. There's a crossover. Go Justin Wilson. Oh, the 21 is sideways. Matt Lacrosse overdrove it. He's going to lose a lot of time. He'll drop all the way. 4th place now as Thomas J. George goes by, and Wilson back to the top spot.
I told you Thomas J. George still had a shot at this. He's up to 3rd. Wilson's to the lead. Now the question is, can Wilson hold on to it? That car's damaged. I don't know that he can stay out front by himself. Here comes the meatball mobile. Gonzalez in 1.
Jose's knocking on the door, 0.2 of a second with 6 to go the last time by. We have to keep in mind, if we get that 4 to go mark, a caution would end this race. Here comes Thomas J. George, half a second now.
Yeah, he's closing. I think the 1 has the best shot. We know he's got the best car out there. I think he could steal this race. Coming to 5 laps to go. It's a 3-car freight train for the win. Back there in 4th is still Lacrosse, but he's losing a ton of time. It's now 0.6 of a second. The battle for the lead's in 1. Here comes the 26 of Gonzalez. Here comes the 1 of George. They're hooked together like a trailer hitch off, too.
Look at the run by Thomas J. George.
Oh, and Dan Murray's sideways off the back straightaway. The 55. Slow. Oh, he's very slow, trying to save it. Don't know what's wrong with the 55, but we've still got the battle for the lead in 2 separate moments.
George is hard in the wall.
Oh.
He's in the fence, and he's dropped back outside of the top 7. Here goes Jose for the lead at 4 to go.
If anybody's going to win this, now the only guy with a shot is the 26 of Gonzalez. Oh, and Wilson gets loose. He almost tags the wall.
God.
They're side by side for the lead. Down the back straightaway, new leader, Jose Gonzalez. Can you believe it with 3 to go?
Can the 58 give him another shot? The cross over the nose to the inside, to the left rear, almost making contact. Jose's going to clear him at the start-finish line. 3 to go.
I wouldn't be... Okay, yeah, he cleared him right there. Well, look at Lacrosse. All of a sudden, He's back into this. Are you kidding me? 2.5 laps to go down the back straightaway. It's a 3-horse race for the win, and Wilson's not out of it yet.
And a caution at this point again. This would end the race. More side by side. Brennan Mercer trying to get around Scott Simley for 4th. Can't get that job done. He'll slide up right in front of Dan Murray. That's going to check up the 55. Crossover now for 5th position as the top 3 have 4 car lengths in between each other. Jose Gonzalez, 3 miles to the checkered flag.
Yeah, double popsicle sticks went up that time around. The question is, can Justin Wilson get back around him? It's a 3-horse race for the win. Gonzalez blocks low, now moves back to the high lane. Matt Lacrosse is going to the inside. He's taking 2nd. He's coming for the lead off turn 4. They'll see the white flag this time.
58's got to give it one more shot. White flag now in the air. We got trouble back in the pack. The one machine is now slow on the apron, but through 1 and 2 for the final time. 58's going to run 1 lane lower. It's Jose Gonzalez down the back. Here comes Justin Wilson.
Wilson's going to have one shot at this into turn number 3. How hard is he going to punch it in? Final time. I don't think he's close enough to make the move. He is not. It's going to be the 8th career win. Off turn number 4. He's not in the chase now. It's woulda, coulda, shoulda, but he's going to victory lane tonight. Jose Gonzalez wins at Kansas.
Wow. Matt Lacrosse going to pick up 3rd. Scott Simley 4th. Dan Murray 5th. What a race.
Hey, so I started this race on 7 cylinders not feeling well, Evan. I think I'm okay now. That may have been the craziest thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
That was that. We say it, and I mean, wow. Jose Gonzalez is going to burn it down on the front straightaway.
Well
1
deserved.
week after being eliminated, that's right, from the championship, making a statement after he had to work for that. I think we saw 3 cars at least, Jacob, challenge Justin Wilson. They all wrecked. Jose Gonzalez is the only man that lived through it to take home the win.
Yeah, wow. How about that burnout? How well deserved is that for the Meatball Chevrolet Jose Gonzalez? What a drive. 8th career RSR victory. We'll talk to the top finishers after this one and try to catch our breaths, because I don't even know if we're still totally cognizant of what we've seen tonight. Going to commercial, we'll hear from Gonzalez, Wilson, and maybe a few other crazies after this. You're listening and watching LSRTV from Kansas Speedway. It's the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back to RSR Competition, the Garry Mercer Trucking post-race show from Kansas Speedway. Jacob Seelman, Evan Pasoko, Carl Jones. After arguably most insane thing I've ever seen in any form of motorsports, real or virtual, in my entire career. And that's saying something. Now, Jose Gonzalez gets the win. More on that in a moment. Right now, though, I want to take it pit side. Carl Jones, I believe you caught up with our third-place runner tonight, Matt Lacrosse. And, boy, for the guy who looked like he was going to potentially be challenging for the win in the closing laps, that 21 brings it home third.
Caught up here with Matt Lacrosse. How you doing tonight, Matt? Great race.
Yeah, lucky to survive there. Thought I could have got the win there. I got under Justin, and you got to get to the top here, passing on the bottom if you can, but then get right back to the top. That's what I tried to do, but it was so tight and loose, and I about lost it, and I was lucky to hold on to third. I'm just glad I finished.
Well, did you think you had a chance there at all towards the end of this race of getting up there and taking this lead?
Once we had that restart, and I was behind Justin, and then the caution came out, and I was running second. As long as I got a good restart and I could hang with Justin, he had damage, but he's still really good. So I thought, man, I'm faster than him. I was closing on him, and then that's when I made the pass on the front stretch. And then I went low, and I thought, man, if I can just clear him and get to the top of the track coming off of 2, I'm good. There's no one going to catch me. So, but that didn't happen. I thought for a chance right there that was my chance to win, and it didn't happen. So we'll take third.
Well, like you said, you're going to walk away with a third place. That's still a good finish, not the win, but really hard fought. You have anybody you want to thank here?
I'd like to thank Quick Car Racing Products. Got the Save the Tatas paint scheme for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's a really big deal. My family, I've lost 3 aunts to breast cancer. They're all riding on the trunk lid. They'll be riding in this series for the rest of the month. I want to thank a buddy over at Sim Racing Graphics, Randall, who painted that car for me. And thank you guys up in the booth for doing a great job. I'd like to thank Derek Spear Designs, Inside Sim Racing, all the guys that are associated with Real Sim Racing and Scray League.
Coming home third, number 21, Matt Lacrosse. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take it to Jacob now.
Yeah, and just as quickly as I say something, Matt had a strong run tonight, and another guy who had a strong run down there on pit road now, I think Evan Pasoko's caught up with him. Justin Wilson, the 58, there were a couple times where I thought he was going to win it in the closing laps, Evan, and with no rear end on that car, he's runner-up.
He led a lot of laps late, but Justin, you're going to come home with a second-place result. Walk us through that final dash for the win there. Had to hold off a couple of guys, going to come up one spot short.
Yeah, just ever since we lost the rear end of that car, I've been fighting that thing being so loose, and it just got out of me, got out from underneath me there for that little bit just to let Jose by.
Walk us through this race, because this was a wild one where we saw pretty much all of our chase drivers have, to some description, some serious issues. You're going to leave here at the top of the chase standings, but walk us through how wild this one was and how you were able to survive, excluding that rear bumper down to get to this checkered flag.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I really survived. I just got lucky. Yeah, we all... The track was like, it was either tight or it was loose, and it just 1 second it'd be tight, 1 second it'd be loose, and we were all fighting that, just fighting for control. And like I said, I clobbered the wall just watching who was I watching? I was watching Thomas and Corbin go at it, and was so focused on them that I wasn't paying attention to where that wall was. And that sent me all the way to the back, which then there was a big pileup on a restart, which I don't know what caused it, but then that's where I lost my back bumper, and it was just loose from then on. So I couldn't imagine what everybody else was fighting through. If my car was that bad, I couldn't imagine what everybody else was.
Looking in this round of the chase, obviously Talladega closing it out, and everybody talking that could be the wild card race. Tonight, was pretty crazy. You're going to have an 18-point advantage to the cutoff spot, 18 points over 9th position, which would be the first spot that would be eliminated after these next 2 races. You have to feel a little bit more confident rolling out of this race than you did with that little bit of a buffer. Talladega still up in the air, but Charlotte in between, coming up in 1 week's time. How confident are you rolling into that race?
Charlotte's always been a really good track of ours, and we always run about top 5 there. So I mean, I'm looking for a good finish there. Like I said, anything can happen. 15 points is not a very big cushion. I mean, it's a little bit, but it's not. One bad race that 15 points is gone, and then you're in the hole. So, and then definitely you want to have a big enough points going into Talladega, because we all know that anything can happen there.
And definitely, when you roll out of tonight's race, a second place result, sponsor shoutouts, who makes it happen for you?
Joey Katina, again, picking me up for this race. My teammate Scott Senzel, we've been working together every race, pitch strategies wise and everything. And my spotter Ryan Vaughn, he was with me tonight. And you guys for putting on the show, and RSR for letting us all race this. It was a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations on surviving and limping that 58 home for a second place result. You'll lead the championship standings. Good luck next week, and good luck for advancing to the next round.
Thank you.
Guys, that is Justin Wilson. He'll come home with a second place result here, Jacob, and you're down in victory lane now with the man that stole that checkered flag in the closing laps.
Hello, Gatorade Victory Lane, and more importantly, hello, Jose Gonzalez. I know it's 1 week too late, and this was about a week after you wanted to get that checkered flag because you're not in the next round. But Jose, walk us through that late race charge, because first the 58 had the lead, and then all of a sudden it's a free-for-all at the front, and next thing we know, you're coming out of it on top, and from there it was just home sweet home for you. You were out front and there was nobody catching you.
Yeah. Wow, what a race! It was very interesting. There were a lot of different type of cars in there. There were loose, tight, wrecked cars, cars with one side wrecked, cars without bumpers. I mean, cars took 2 tires, cars took 4 tires. So I mean, I just raced to survive. I had a feeling today. I started, way back. I forgot my starting spot, but I see everybody having troubles and wrecking, and I'm just thinking, I'm feeling good about this. I'm just gonna try to keep my nose clean, and when I took 4 tires to pits ago, I thought I had a good chance there, and Justin, I saw him without, the rear end, and I thought I could be faster than him. And the only problem is that it's very tough to pass on the inside, whether you're faster or not. The same happened to Thomas George. He had 4 new tires, and he was coming to get us, but he couldn't make the pass, and he lost a couple of spots. But I got lucky. Justin was a little loose there on the outside, and I could take the inside for the pass, and that was that.
It was a brilliant drive for you, first win of the season. Even though you're not in the next round of the chase and you weren't able to advance, how much vindication is this for you? Actually, take that back, second win of the season for you, but how much vindication is this, despite the fact that you weren't one of those 12 that made it through Dover?
Yeah, it was very disappointing. Those 3 races, I got wrecked, and I had very bad luck, and it feels good to get back on top. And even though I'm not in the chase, it feels good to get a win here.
Yeah, real quick, how wild was this race really from the driver's seat? Because there were 3 or 4 different times, especially that one incident with Corbin where you about got taken out. We saw 3, 4, 5 different instances where you had to really do some pretty creative driving to not get caught up tonight.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on, and the setup was was kind of weird because it would get tight on you, but it could snap out, you know, if you weren't careful, and you had to ride very close to the wall, and you know, every time everybody is riding in the wall, you know, there's a ton of stuff that could happen, and yeah, I got several incidents during the race, and the one with Corbin, he got a little loose and he hit the wall, and we got together, but you know, you kind of expect that, and I lost my spots there, but on the bright side, I got 4 new tires while everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of drivers stayed out, so you know that I could get back up quickly.
What a drive for you tonight. And before we let you go, no, you can't do it by yourself. So how about some thank you shout outs? Who makes it happen for you and the Meatball crew?
Yeah, the Meatball Company in Puerto Rico. Best meatballs in the island. They're my sponsors, and Hippie's Paint Shop on Facebook. If you need some paint jobs for your car, Hippie's Paint Shop, he's the best. And thanks to you guys, LSRTV and RSR, and a shout out to Laura. She always does the best job.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Jose. Go celebrate. Congratulations on a big win for you here in Kansas. You survived, and you're on top tonight.
Thank you very much. Sup, Pasoko?
he called it right there, Evan. I'll send it right back to you, buddy. Let's take it through the Garry Mercer Trucking full field rundown, shall we?
Well, you just talked to him, but it is Jose Gonzalez who's going to walk away in victory lane, the number 26 car, after starting back in 19th position. Jose is going to get the job done. He'll take home the Sunoco checkered flag. Justin Wilson will hang on for a second-place result in the closing stages. Matt Lacrosse, after looking like he may have been able to take this one home, he'll get a third-place result. Scott Simley, 4th place at the end of the night. How about Dan Murray, 5th place? Thomas J. George, 6th place. Those two drivers had a lot of woes, ups and downs throughout the night. Brennan Mercer's going to hang on for a 7th place result. Scott Stenzel had another up and down night as well. He'll come home with a top 10 result. He'll get 8th position. Brian Harvey going to get 9th place chase driver, and John Wilco going to round out the top 10 at the number 62. Very quiet night, but John Wilco able to get away and get that number 10 position.
Yeah, how about 11th? Steve Gottschalk, another one of the chasers that survived. Corbin Hemstreet, 12th at the checkered flag, last car on the lead lap. Nathan Little survives for 13th. Bryce Whitson Jr., 14th. E.J. O'Rourke, 15th. The rest of these cars all got trashed at some point in the night. C.J. LeVere, 16th. Mark Bratcher, 17th. Cody Gibson, 18th. Jonathan Cadell, 19th. Eric Brundy's 20th, Evan. Let's throw it back to you for the rest of the garage goers.
Well, Stefan Marinak going to get all these cars more than 60 laps out of it behind the wall. Marinak will come home 21st. Jamie Pitts, 22nd. Ed Williams Jr., 23rd. Doug Manning, 24th. Rhett McBride, championship driver, 25th place result for him. James Robinson, 26th. Kevin Linden, 27th. He got up on his lid a couple times. Doug Roth, 28th. Mitch Rollo, 29th. Adam Benefiel, however, a 30th place result for one of our chase drivers. Stephen Herring, 31st. John Higman Jr., 32nd. Jimmy North, 33rd. 34th, Jason Lester. And Rich Jett, 35th. The last car to actually start tonight's race will round out the 35-car field, Jacob.
Yeah, and what a night. And, you know, you look at the points now, Evan. Here's another bullet. You look at the points, how big a shakeup was tonight. Eric Brundy's is outside the top 8 transfer right now. Justin Wilson, the championship leader. Look at this. It's amazing. Wilson, George, Murray, Simley, Stenzel, Gottschalk, Little, LeVere. Those are your transfers right now after Kansas. Can you believe it? I can't.
Jonathan Cadell is 3 points out of it. Brundy's is 4 out of it. McBride is about 9, but Benefiel 14-plus points back.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. And real quick, I want to bring in one of the guys who had a front row seat to all of it tonight and really had a front row seat to more of it than a lot of people realize. Finished 7th tonight and was instrumental in most of the behind-the-scenes work was Brennan Mercer. Brennan, from 2 standpoints, because you had driver and race under your belt tonight. How difficult a race was this with all the different hats and just all the chaos that unfolded tonight?
Well, you try to be neutral as best as you can, and I think that's one of the things that I try to be. We had an instance actually where a couple guys got black flags because of some tire spin, and I had to clear them. And I actually lost about 15-16 seconds on the leader trying to clear black flag. So I mean that gets a little difficult. If I didn't get knocked out of the chase there last week, I probably wouldn't have cleared them. But no, I cleared them out, and that's the one thing. You just got to be neutral. And I know a couple guys were screaming at each other tonight, and I was getting screamed at. And you just try to be neutral.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, you still finished 7th. How chaotic was it from your driver's seat? Because even though you were not in the chase, still a really solid run for your team tonight, and avoided a few crazy wrecks as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. I think I split the errors a couple times there, and I had to get this new pair of underpants, that's for sure, a few times. But that was my goal tonight, was to just kind of lay back the first half of the race and kind of let the accidents happen, because he knew they were coming. And we had that little bit of a long green flag stop, and I was about 2 laps to the good, and I was just trying to run the bottom. And hopefully I could save enough fuel and get it to the end, because I know the guys at the top, they're running low. So
yeah, it's been crazy wild. Do we just need to gear up now for more of the same in Charlotte?
Yeah, I think you're gonna see the way that, almost like exactly like the NASCAR chase works, like car chase. The guys that have trouble aren't gonna advance, but the guys that finish the half the top 10, top 15, they're gonna be the ones in the 8, and then you're gonna need top 5s in the 8, and then when you get to the final race, you pretty much need to win it. So.
I mean, look at this. The points leader the entire season. Brundys is outside the transfer right now. We've not seen him struggle like that all season, but it was just a matter of getting collected tonight.
Yeah, Brundys is my teammate, and that's one thing. I know he'll bounce back. He was pretty down tonight, but he'll bounce back, and same with Benefield. It's going to be really interesting the next 2 races, especially with Talladega at the end.
It's going to be interesting, Brennan. We appreciate your insight, and looking forward to next Monday night at Charlotte, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on LSRTV. With that, we're going to say our goodnight. So for Evan Pasoko, Carl Jones, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson, I'm Jacob Seelman. Race fans, keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we'll see you next time on the web. Asphalt Assault tomorrow night. Don't miss it. For now, good night from Kansas.